Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Khushamdi. Ji ayanu. Khuyumorcha ishpata.
Bakher Angele, Ni Hao, Chunashume, Washmale, Ohio Gonzaimes, Guten Morgen, Hola, Boyor, Privyet, Kaifahal, Halishuma Chatore, Ahlan Wasalan, Marhaba, Buna, Mucho, Gracias, Suaviam, Bali Kareaya. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning into PTV World. You're watching World this morning alongside the very fantastic, amazing, superb, talented, intelligent Miss Shiza Hashmi, and I happen to be Shahzad Ahsan Khan. We hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well and that people out there in 46 different countries are ready to kickstart their day with us. Hello, Shiza. How are you doing today?
Doing absolutely great. Thank you so much for asking and doing even better, of course, after my daily compliments.
Alhamdulillah.
But, well, I have to say, this is the very aware and then the very self-aware Shahzad
wow.
Khan. So, Shahzad, how was your weekend?
Well, I guess, Alhamdulillah, my weekend was very reassuring and I kind of got to rest myself as well because majority of the people out there knew that my younger daughter wasn't feeling well. So, she was at the hospital. So, Alhamdulillah, Shukr, Alhamdulillah, I need to say that as well, that we kind of got discharged on Saturday, got back home, the entire family came over. It was a celebration. I got to spend like 2-3 days straight away with my kids as well because, the kids were with their nanny and, we were at the hospital busy. So, I think it was very amazing. And then, my middle daughter, who's on number 2. So, as soon as she came back, she just kept on kissing me. That's it. And that's
so
when
sweet.
I really felt how much they might have missed us, because we weren't together under one roof. And this is what happened. But I think I'm glad, I'm thankful to Allah Almighty for blessing us with health. And ladies and gentlemen, health is definitely very important because this is something I need to talk about today. And that is that, Shiza, while I was at the hospital, every single day I was thinking that, it's about my daughter. No matter how much I have to spend, I will go to every length. I will do anything and everything for that as well. And that was the point when I realized, hey, you know what? That's not real wealth. Wealth is actually health, being healthy as well. So please make sure, ladies and gentlemen, because it's winter's time, do not want your kids to fall sick or ill as well because the floor is very cold. Make sure that they're not walking barefoot as well. This is something you really need to make sure of because kids, they fall sick just because of the fact that parents are a little ignorant about that they can get a cold, they can catch a cold as well. And it's just because of the fact that you're walking barefoot everywhere around in the house.
Right, absolutely, that too. And also when I recently sort of realized or noticed this as well, kids do go, they love to go out to play. There are park type arrangements in Islamabad especially. So the thing is, of course, while you do make sure to apply some Mospel or any sort of insect repellent to them because dengue is going on as well, make sure to cover them properly because if you even don't feel cold, the winds are so dry that they can be damaging to lungs as well, which can eventually, God forbid, turn into pneumonia too after you do catch the fever. Well, that is that.
And not just that, I have something in addition to that, and that is that please make sure that you do not take them out at night time or even after evening because the temperature is dropping like 4 degrees.
Yes,
all of a sudden,
immediately.
It's 22 degrees outside and, you go outside, it's 18. So please make sure that you do not put them at risk.
Right. But other than that, Shahzad, it's such a fun time in terms of, first of all, entire country is open. I mean, we are not under the threat of the COVID-19 anymore because we are right now sort of recording the lowest positivity rate ever to exist here. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. I hope that remains the same and even goes down. I hope dengue gets better too, but also it's cricket season. I mean, after such a long time, Pakistanis are enjoying so much because, well, of course, first of all, our team. But secondly, our rival teams is actually not doing too good. So should we talk about it?
Exactly. We really need to talk about it because obviously first things first, ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan and India, everybody knows it's just like Australia and England as well. But not just that, Alhamdulillah, after 10 years with 10 wickets, Pakistan managed to win. In fact, not even 10 years, for the last 12 World Cup matches, Pakistan haven't really gotten one to themselves as well. Then moving on to obviously New Zealand, they were here, they kind of refused to play. So, we had to update their security settings, which we did. Alhamdulillah, we are glad that we got that as well. But yesterday it was New Zealand versus England, ladies and gentlemen, where India batting first actually scored 110 for the loss of 7 wickets. India definitely did look a bit confused, and it's because
Out
of the
of
fact
sorts.
I certainly do not I'm not able to kind of find the reason because they were playing IPL, they were in the same grounds as well, and then even then BCCI couldn't manage to actually have a great team to themselves as well, and BCCI trying for so long that Virat actually after Dhoni kind of lifts the legacy of Dhoni and gives them a cup or a title of such sort, but it does not really look possible for them. And what I'm seeing is that from our group, I think it's going to be Pakistan and New Zealand. I don't know whether if that's going to happen or not. But yes, and against
I think I'll put
Afghanistan.
my money on your bet as well.
What?
I'll put my money on your bet as well.
Yeah,
Well, of course. I mean, Pakistan for the win.
I mean, I'm even going to say it on record today as well because I see Pakistan and New Zealand in the final, or probably Pakistan or
Oh.
England. You know, it's
You
it's
know
just
what?
going to
We
be
will bring this up, inshallah, when the finals appear again.
We will definitely do that, but that's what it is for now because for the last 34 years that I've been living on this planet, ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan has never played with such confidence. Hats off to Ramiz Raja because
What a team,
what
what a
he
line.
brought was a body language, what he brought was aggression, what he brought was actually an Australian coach who's actually going to kind of translate the kind of cricket they play with that energy and the zeal. This is something which we wanted.
Oh, that's brilliant, of course. Well, fingers crossed.
Well played.
I feel like Shahzad now, because it's a Monday, of course, we're headed into a week, which I hope is going to be great for everyone. People are going to work, to study, whatnot. I think we should start on a lighter note.
Yeah, let's do
And
that.
I have just the perfect song to actually start our week with.
Yeah.
It is a treat to our ears as well. And, well, we have a video of it too.
Exactly. And before we kind of share the video, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that it's going to be the first ever premiere of that video on the television screen as well. Yes, it is. We are glad that, you know, this amazing gentleman, Chocolate Hero, actually gave us this great opportunity to share his song. He's changed his music because earlier, whenever I would see him singing or do anything, you know, he would kind of relate back to 1980s and 1990s and then the early 2000s as well. And then he finally realized that, hey, you know what, one of the best ever music producers over here in Islamabad, let's go catch him up and make some good music. And that's what he did. Please go ahead, take a listen to this. And when you guys will come back, we will introduce this amazing Chocolate Hero / singer, aka I'm not telling you as of now, but please go ahead and take a listen.
Let's do it.
I'm ready to enjoy. Come on, let's vibe with it.
ਸਾਵਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਸਦਾ ਜਾਵੇ ਅੱਖੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਚੈਨ ਨਾ ਆਵੇ ਦਿਲ ਦੀ ਹਰ ਧੜਕਨ ਮੇਰੀ ਤੇਰੇ ਵੱਲ ਖਿੱਚਦੀ ਜਾਵੇ ਤੱਕ ਬੈਠਾ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਿਆਰ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਤੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੋਹਣੀਏ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਤੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੋਹਣੀਏ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗੇ ਸਦੀਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਤੇਰਾ ਇੰਤਜ਼ਾਰ ਸੀ ਜਦ ਤੱਕ ਤੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਜੀਣਾ ਬੇਕਾਰ ਸੀ ਤੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਜਿੰਦ ਹਾਰੇ ਅਸਾਂ ਤੇ ਹਾਂ ਦਿਲ ਹਾਰੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਿਆਰ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਤੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੋਹਣੀਏ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਤੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੋਹਣੀਏ ਸਾਵਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਸਦਾ ਜਾਵੇ ਅੱਖੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਚੈਨ ਨਾ ਆਵੇ ਦਿਲ ਦੀ ਹਰ ਧੜਕਨ ਮੇਰੀ ਤੇਰੇ ਵੱਲ ਖਿੱਚਦੀ ਜਾਵੇ ਤੱਕ ਬੈਠਾ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so congratulations to Mr. Adnan Qureshi for Mainu Pyar Ho Gaya. Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning, how are you?
Hey Shahzad, how are you? Good to see
Absolutely
you again,
perfect.
man. Long time.
Long time, man, long time. And, you know, I was about to say the same as well, but you're looking great.
Thank
you're
you
in
so
great shape as well, and that you're doing new music. Wow.
Congratulations on this song,
Thank
first
you,
of all.
Shahzad.
It's
Thank
amazing.
you. Thank you for having me on the show, guys. It's an
Definitely our
honor.
pleasure.
Anji.
Our pleasure. All right, so to begin with, first of all, I think I have to mention over here, in case you're thinking, oh my God, I can't place this face, I have definitely seen them. So while, of course, he's a singer and he does it by passion, he produces and, well, creates music by passion, he also acts and then he sometimes models as well.
Yeah, and not
So I
just
think-
that,
yeah.
he's actually got a good job to himself
Of
as
course,
well.
of
And he works in the first place, and then he sings, and then he acts, and he does whatever he wants to do.
Yeah,
Wow.
which I think which is the best approach to life as well. So you tell me, how's all of this going on lately? What are some of the projects you're working on right now? And then we move on to some specifics, okay?
Well, firstly, I mean, I just want to be saying that Ali Mustafa, the guy I've worked with on this song, Shahzad knows him, musical genius. So an honor to work with him. He was supposed to be here today, had an emergency, so couldn't make it. But so working with Ali Mustafa on a couple of projects, I have 4 or 5 new songs that are in the pipeline. There's another song that's releasing next week. Actually, the teaser's coming out, and then that's it's a cover. of a very, very famous song. You guys will see that as well. A beautiful video has been shot on that. And then I have 2 originals coming out after that. So we're doing a lot of work in the field of music.
Exactly, and it looks like, as if that you have taken full advantage of COVID as well, and that while you were inside, you were writing a lot as well, and that you were making a lot of music. Thank you very much for doing that. But the best part, ladies and gentlemen, over here is that since I even said it in the introduction, that Mr. Ali Mustafa is definitely a musical genius, as he said. Ali Bhai, I hope that you're doing good as well. Your music is always great. You name any famous singer over here in Pakistan, or probably a few of them in India as well. Ladies and gentlemen, he's one of those people who's actually made brilliant music, and he's been making it for the last 2 or 3 decades as well. Finally moved back to Islamabad, and look who got to him. That was Mr. Adnan. So Adnan, how was it? Because earlier, whenever we have met and whenever you have graced the show as well, you had a very different vibe of a music as well, a very different genre. 1980s, 1990s, and then early 2000s. How did you change it?
You have to evolve with the times, Shahzad. And then, the commercialization aspect of music is, of course, there. Yes, you love making music for yourself. My passion is still the classics. But you have to understand that this is an expensive process to make music and to actually come out with your passion. So to actually sustain, you need to commercialize a little bit. Ali Bhai understands, Ali Mustafa understands music of today, the modern era. And you have to cater to the millennials because they are the ones who are actually listening to all the music these days.
True.
It's not the 60s or the 70-year-olds or the 50-year-olds who are going to actually make your music viral. It's going to be the millennials.
True.
So the concept of this song was to make a song that was, in easy Punjabi, but at the same time it would cater to a modern, generation of people.
But why the subject "Mainu Pyar Ho Gaya"?
Because I think this is a timeless subject.
December
All
mein aane
generations
wala.
can relate
Firstly,
to
I just want to be very clear that this is not menu pyar nahi hoya. It's not, I'm too old to be saying this for myself. So I'm just singing the song. I'm not the protagonist in the video. That's the first thing.
That's the catch.
I want to be very clear about this.
Why would you say that? Because you've written it yourself. Why would you say that?
Because it would just
Clarity.
not suit my look to be saying menu pyar ho gaya. I could not be saying menu pyar ho gaya.
Yeah, but obviously somebody else, while
Pehli baar ho gaya to bilkul bhi nahi ho gaya.
No, but somebody else, when they're going to look at you, they can surely say that as well. Mainu pyar ho gaya.
No, I got some comments from fans कि आपको अभी प्यार हुआ है जाके. So that's not the case. It's not for me. It's for the youngsters. I'm just saying कि अगर आपको हो जाए, तो फिर what happens in that
Vibe
feeling?
with this.
Or
So
I
that's
think
the vibe, Hanji.
Yeah, maybe we can say that you were reminiscing over your Pehla Pyar as well.
I'm not reminiscing at all.
There's somebody important watching this show, ladies
So
and
I'm
gentlemen.
talking about
Can't
them.
go wrong.
I'm talking about them. Anyway, so
yeah.
here's the thing.
Right.
I think not to drift away from the conversation, but again, when we talk about the pandemic and the lockdown, there were 2 types of people. There was one, of course, who was like really motivated and ambitious and really had to go about it. I think you were that type
I
because
was that
now we
type.
see that.
It's always been that.
But I think I was the opposite. So
Okay.
first of all, where were you drawing all that inspiration from? Because you did obviously work before this, but this intensity or frequency is a little higher.
I think all the dread and the despair around us and the depression around us with all this COVID, I think that's actually what drove me to, for me it was something that, I need to come out of this and I need to get the world out of this, people around me out of this. We just can't be stuck around COVID and keep thinking about this. A lot of friends of mine got COVID, they were sick. I lost a lot of people in my family to COVID. But the point is you need to fight on and music is the best way to, break all those barriers. And I think that's what we did, provide some happiness.
Exactly.
Is it cathartic for you, your own music? Because so for all the singers or artists I've been in conversation with, they usually don't listen to their own.
No, I do listen to my own music. You have to, because if you don't listen to your own music, you're not going to know where you go wrong. Because music is an industry where you learn all the time.
Exactly.
There's not something that you can just say that I'm perfect at it. It's never going to happen. So you have to keep evolving with the times. And I constantly criticize my own self to find better ways to produce better music.
Exactly, and it's wonderful, and credit's due where it's due.
Yeah.
Because, ladies and gentlemen, I think that for everybody or anybody who's out there, let me be very honest over here. This gentleman was working in States somewhere. He's got a family responsibilities, and then 3 or 4 or 5 years earlier, he thought that I always wanted to be a singer. Let's be a singer.
Yeah.
And for the very first time when he was on the show, I was like, don't you think that it's a little late? He was like, why late? I want to make it.
Age is
I have
just a
the
number.
opportunity to make it. And he kept on pushing himself that, he's now, alhamdulillah, evolved where he's actually kind of reaching out to the millennials as well. And this sort of music will definitely vibe with them, and they will vibe with it as well, because December's
I'm already
coming.
vibing.
It's winters. It's it's the romance season as well, and I think that you've actually hit the nail on the head. What kept you going? Because obviously for people to kind of join in or jump into such a field, they do consider that I don't know whether I'm doing the right thing or not. So what kept you going?
Shahzad, it's like I said, it's a very, very difficult process. It costs a lot of money.
Yeah,
First and foremost, to do the audio production. Ali Mustafa is not cheap.
Yeah.
Let me just say, and he deserves the money he charges, no doubt about it. So to do this, you really need to have passion. I mean, if you don't have the passion, you cannot continue, because what happens is you do a song and then you expect it to become a success, an overnight success, and you become a viral sensation. Everybody cannot become like that.
And that does not happen with everybody.
It does not. It cannot. So what you have to do is you have to be consistent. You have to keep releasing music, and you have to keep throwing content out there. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, where all the music is released. The name of the game is consistency, because if you don't, you're just, because there's so much competition out there. There's a lot of good singers out there. There's a lot of good music coming out now. There's a lot of modern music coming out. The only way you can actually survive is through your passion, and to keep throwing content out there and throwing good content out there.
And this is where I would actually kind of want to quote one of my very amazing friends who's actually taught me quite a lot. It's Waqar Zaka. So he used to always tell me that, okay, you make one show, if it's not a hit, make another one.
Right.
If that does not work, make another one. And this is how it works.
I think it works for him.
It works for everybody, yeah. It works for everybody. Because what happens is that when I came into television, after the first 3 or 4 months, I thought that, okay, I'm going to be all over the billboards and whatnot. But that's not the case. You have to go strike every single day and make sure that you're doing it. But
you're a big success story for us, Shahzad. I mean, I've seen you also grow in front of me. I have.
You're one of those for saying that. But now what I wanted to come down was that you're making another 4 or 5 more songs as well. What are they about? What kind of music are we expecting? What kind of music are you fans expecting from you?
So like I said,
what kind of collabs also? Because
so like I said, I'm trying different things. It's not going to be one genre of music, to be honest with you. So and the commercial aspect has to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't think commercially, if you just sing for yourself, yes, you're going to be happy for a little while, but you have to eventually start making it profitable to some extent, right?
True.
And the only way you can do that is to do some kind of commercial music in addition to the kind of music you love.
True.
Okay.
So I'm doing a mix of songs, to be honest with you. I have a song that's coming out next in a couple of weeks. You'll see the video. It's a beautifully shot video.
Is it a pumpy song?
No, it's not a pumpy. It's a completely opposite song to what we've done. It's a slower song. It's a cover. But it's a cover that's never been done before. And I honestly believe that this cover is actually much better than the original. Not saying much, not trying to boast.
I want to know. Okay.
Now I'm
Please name
really
the singer who has
intrigued.
sung this song. Don't tell us about the song.
It's a Bollywood singer, but the thing with this singer is he's only sang 2 songs in his entire career. And both those songs were super hits. I'll give you one song. वो बीते दिन याद है.
Oh yeah.
So इसका जो दूसरा गाना था वो मैंने cover किया है.
Wow.
And it's a cover that's never been done before. I feel that the way we've produced the cover is actually sounding better than the original. Not to be boasting.
When you went to Ali Mustafa, obviously
And-
it's better.
I mean, you have
Right.
nothing to worry about.
And the video has been shot beautifully. There's a guy called Danish Ansari. He's come from Karachi. Very talented young guy. This video was also shot by him. He's also done the second video. We've shot it in Nathia Gali.
Oh, nice.
And
Spending a lot of money, bro.
yeah, it's a beautiful video. So
before-
even for nothing else, if you guys watch the video, the visuals are going to be amazing.
We have no doubt in that. I actually really loved this one too.
I mean,
because
just
with
looking
all
at you, the visual is great, yeah.
Well, there are still so many questions I actually have to ask in terms of, when you're done with the product, whatever it is, do you sort of test it on people, and what sort of responses do you get? Do you change it
keep
after?
on listening to it yourself as well.
Of
you
course,
have
I mean,
to.
and then do you make changes after as well?
Well-
But hold on to that thought before because I have a lot of requests from my MCR as well for you to please sing something for us. Maybe
sure.
some lines.
Maybe I can just sing.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
what we
please
want.
do that.
So it's something like this. ਸਾਵਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਸਦਾ ਜਾਵੇ ਅੱਖੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਚੈਨ ਨਾ ਆਵੇ ਲਾ ਰਾ 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 ਦਿਲ ਦੀ ਹਰ ਧੜਕਨ ਤੇਰੇ ਵੱਲ ਖਿੱਚਦੀ ਜਾਵੇ ਲਾ ਰਾ 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 ਤੱਕ ਬੈਠਾ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਿਆਰ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਤੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੋਹਣੀਏ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ तेरे नाल सोहणीए मैनू प्यार हो गया तेरे नाल सोहणीए
क्या बात है यार, क्या बात है.
Nice.
Lovely, man. Lovely, lovely,
This was
lovely.
really nice.
And you
Okay.
know, I mean, this is the kind of song you would, I mean, because early morning, this is something, this is a routine. So what I do is, every night before sleeping, I kind of set myself a playlist to listen to earlier when, you know, I have to come to work.
And
I
then
think
you
this is
bring
one
it
of
to
the-
work
this
as
song
well.
needs to be on that
Yeah, yeah,
playlist,
yeah,
Siddharth.
yeah, yeah.
I will check.
And I'm exactly telling you that this song literally needs to be there as well, ladies and gentlemen. Please make sure that you check out his music, ladies and gentlemen. He is Adnan Qureshi. He's making some wonderful music. There's a lot more music coming your way as well. But very quickly, now what I need to ask you is that, you know, people like Asim Azhar were very big these days as well, alhamdulillah, making a lot of good music. Youngsters is here, then Faris Shafi is
Oh my
here.
God, I love Youngsters.
And you know, there's this collab in between Faris Shafi and Atif Hassan just very recently about cricket, which is doing good. So the direction of music is going somewhere where people are trying to do the music which is going to be relevant in the next 10 years as well. You know, is this something which you think while you're making or composing or writing music?
I always, you know, look at the sustainability of music. That's the most important thing. I think sustainability of music depends primarily on melody, the melody that you have within the song. Even on this song, we were very, very, you know, serious about providing some sort of melody. It cannot just be lyrics gelled together into some music. So the melody aspect is what sustains the song. Yes, we do work on that. Most of the music that I'm doing, we are looking into that, and collaborations as well. I am collaborating with a friend of mine in Islamabad, Alamdar. I don't know if you know.
Yeah.
So we're trying to do a song together. A couple of other projects like that we're working on. So there will be some collaborations
Wow.
happening very soon in the
Wonderful.
field of music
Okay.
as well.
I
We're
think you
really
need to
looking
collaborate
forward.
with, I mean, it's just a suggestion and a wishful thinking as well that Kurat Lance Baloch, I think, would do a
Oh my
wonderful
God, I
collaboration,
love
yeah.
her.
And
Yeah.
you guys will look good together.
And
as
even the new singer from the Hum Kahan Ke Sache The, Yashal.
well. Yeah,
Beautiful voice
She's
as well.
doing
She even
so
got
great,
promoted just
mashallah.
a few days ago.
Yeah.
She got promoted. I think I
What
saw
does
her
that
status.
mean?
So congratulations to you, Yashal. You're a great singer and a musician.
Yeah.
But moving on.
I have a
Yeah,
question.
okay, you have
Again,
a question.
sorry.
Go ahead.
So, well,
You have
I
a
did. I was talking about how you get a reaction or actually response, you know, and how you adapt according to that. But if I were to rephrase my question, we exist in a world where everyone has a voice, and for even the people that you don't want to hear from, they will tell you what is right or wrong with your product.
Correct,
right?
correct.
So, in such a world, who do you listen to?
You get a lot of haters. I mean,
So
anytime
easily.
you are out there, Shazad knows this, you'll get more haters than lovers. to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
honest with you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And you can't let these people let you down. So you listen to the people that actually understand music. You don't get depressed, or you don't get demotivated by the negative hate comments that you get. I could get a comment saying, "Yaar, is age mein isko pyar ho gaya." I mean, they could be
But don't
completely.
you think it's easier said than done?
Yeah, but it's you have to understand that you have actually achieved something by doing what you. If you are, you cannot be attached to the result of the achievement that you've done. You have actually achieved. That's the thing that you need to be happy with it, and you need to come out. And a lot of people have not done that.
Yeah, that's
They've
true.
not even been able to come close to achieving what you've done. So you should be happy with that, and you should not be attached to the actual outcome of your endeavor.
In
I
addition
like
to
it,
that,
I like
it.
in addition to that, being a public figure, making music for people out there, obviously, so that they can kind of cherish, have fun, kind of have a great time as well. Even if there's something, if they're saying something, may it be positive, may it be negative, the achievement is that they're saying something. They're talking about it.
right.
Precisely.
And this is something which I kind of explain everybody, even if it's a newcomer as well, that, may it be good speech or hate speech, they're saying something, you've done
exactly.
something, they're responding to that, and this is what you actually want.
One thing I do want to say add here is
Yes,
that
please.
whatever content you do make, please try to make it somewhat respectable. It should not be completely trash. It should not be completely something that people cannot relate to. It should
You know
it
what,
should be
something-
classy.
Yeah.
It should be at least up to your standards. Stuff that I'm seeing on TikTok,
Oh,
for
of
instance, should
course.
not be your
That's disturbing.
just because it's getting you views. It should not be the only reason that you're doing it. So yes,
Exactly.
you should be commercial. You should think about commercialization, but it should not be below standards. It should be somewhat to the standard
Exactly.
at least according to your the way you are.
And
We
thank you
hope
very
people
much for
think like
saying that
that.
as well, because I think 3 years ago I actually deleted TikTok from my cell phone as well, because I was like, it was a waste of time.
And
But what you said, I think, is a wonderful thing, and people really need to kind of look forward to themselves performing as well. Now imagine that if I have to perform, and that too on a TikTok idea as well, I think I would rather want to imagine myself in a very classy and a mannerism form as well. And we hope and pray that everybody kind of does that as well, because I mean, anybody can kind of get famous, but please make sure that you do not get famous for a month or 2 months as well. It's a lifelong process. Keep at it, and inshallah, you will definitely survive and will learn to swim as well. Inshallah.
Definitely.
Thank you very much for being
Thank
with us. It was
you.
lovely to be in conversation, Adnan.
It's our
That
pleasure.
too, after a long time, you're a handsome hunk, you're a chocolate hero. I would want to see you in movies as well, because you know these days heroes, they're putting on wigs as well, and they have a lot of
Maybe I
topic
could
to-
be a side hero to you in one of your movies.
I mean, I think we really need to do a film where we brothers running together as well. Something like that. You are an elderly one, probably.
I'll take the elderly role.
I mean, we'll definitely sort it out. But
Yeah.
imagine, ladies and gentlemen, we certainly want heroes like these as well, who's got a head full of hair, and that too who looks handsome as well. So thank you very much,
Thank you,
Adnan,
Shazad.
for being with us. Lovely to have you.
Thank you, guys.
Well, right now we are heading to a very short break, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, of course, we'll still be enjoying the music in a way. Well,
Because
we
Manu
will.
Pyar Ho Gaya.
Menu Pyar Ho
That's
Gaya.
on my playlist now.
But in the next segment, we have something really interesting to learn together, ladies and gentlemen. And this one is especially for the probably young parents out there.
I think
or
I'm going
even
to learn quite a lot today.
Yeah?
Yeah, and I have a lot of questions because I just recently went through a roller coaster
Yeah.
ride. So let's do that, because I think, ladies and gentlemen, music definitely does play a role, where you obviously have to play Coco Melon cartoons right in front of the kids so that they can
Or Baby
so that they
Shark.
can, yes, so that they can take their medicine. But then at the same time, how do you kind of cope up with these challenges when you know that all of your kids need to be under one roof alongside their mother and father? But unfortunately, if any uncertainty happens or takes place, how do you manage? How do you manage the pressure? How do you kind of settle your kids? Because kids, they get really disturbed if they
Anxious.
do not see their parents under one roof as well. We're taking a break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Make sure that you guys are going to listen to Menu Pyar Ho Gaya by Adnan Qureshi.
Good morning.
रोशनियों के शहर में उम्मीद की ईंट लगाएंगे। हम शौकत खानम अस्पताल कराची बनाएंगे। अपने एहतियात से ईंट लगाने के लिए अभी कॉल करें।
Welcome back to Well This Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're having an amazing morning, a healthy plate of breakfast, of course,
Yep.
a good cup of coffee / chai, and a lovely Monday morning too. So, Shazad, what are we talking about in
All
this
right.
segment?
So, ladies and
We
gentlemen,
did give it away already, though.
Yes, obviously we did give it away, and since I've told you or made you aware of the condition I actually went through, or probably the times which were a lot tough and were very challenging for both of us parents over here, because one of our kid was ill, and then we had to leave other two daughters at their nanny's place. And then every time when I would go to see them, they would talk about their mama, and any time and every time she would go back to see them, they would talk about their daddy. And so it was confusing for us, and then eventually even we were getting frustrated that, we want each and every one of us to be under the same roof, and this is something which everybody wants. But there are challenges in life. There are a lot of people who are living abroad, their families are over here. How to kind of look after them as well is something which we want to talk about. But what challenges parents face and how can they overcome those challenges is something we are talking about. Because earlier, this very amazing lady who actually was a regular on the show as well, her portfolio is getting bigger and bigger.
So she got busy.
Alhamdulillah, which is why I'm going to introduce and kind of share each and every title, ladies and gentlemen, or a hat which she wears as well. So she actually happens to be, alhamdulillah, CEO Assessment and Counseling for Education. She's a PhD Educational Psychology. She happens to be a consultant psychologist at ACE, and she is Dr. Aiza Yazdani. Abid, hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Walaikum assalam, and thank you for that amazing introduction.
Alhamdulillah, and you truly deserve it. And the best part is that you're getting richer day by day. Alhamdulillah. So thank you very much for joining us. And this is for the very first time that we're actually talking from a perspective where we want parents to kind of overcome challenges. Now, when we come down to parents, I think I have been in those shoes, for the last week as well. And it gets really difficult, and for parents to absorb, while seeing, because a lot of kids are getting ill these days as well, ladies and gentlemen. And one of those things which I really need to tell everybody that, so the doctors were unable to actually figure out what was going wrong with my daughter. And then eventually after 3 or 4 days of research, they came up with MISC, which is post-COVID condition, and they call it multi-inflammatory syndrome. So God forbid if there's something wrong, please make sure that you go to the doctor and ask them what MISC is, because God forbid it's happening quite a lot as well.
Right.
So ma'am, it was very challenging time for me and for my entire family, because one of the parent obviously had to be with the kid all the time. The other 2 kids were missing out on their parents as well, and they were disturbed. Now when the kids get disturbed, they kind of come up with things where they're just going to cry, their personality is going to be kind of not in a correct balance. How do you think parents need to cope up with such challenges where they're not able to give them time because of an emergency?
To be a parent is one of the world's best jobs, I think.
Best jobs, wow, that's a 50-50.
Okay, but the best comes with the worst also.
True.
Okay, and I think the worst brings out the best in you. So let's leave the cliches aside. And I think what happens is that being a parent is not simple, just producing a child and going on with your life, but it's actually a two-way process.
Yep.
It's your own growing up, it's your own maturity as a human being.
Yeah.
I've always emphasized one thing, and that is being calm in your life, being emotionally in control. So whenever I talk about parenting, I would always recommend being able to have control over oneself as an individual first. And that actually helps you through all eventualities.
True.
Whether dealing with a child who has broken something or just disrupted your plan, from moving on to serious emergencies, medical emergencies, family crisis, and much more things happen. Something will always be happening in life. Now, and one of my favorite sentences, parenting can't be emotional.
Yeah.
Parenting has to be very practical,
Realistic.
realistic.
But it becomes emotional.
Yeah, do we have a choice?
Even parents are humans, they feel it at times that this is something which is wrong, and then they get bogged down by everything which is happening.
See, there you gave the answer. They get bogged down.
Yeah.
So when you are emotional or when you are reacting to situations like that, you can't take good decisions.
True, that's true.
For instance, in your hospital stay and everything, it was like more of like we are apart and we can't have a normal life. And this thing was getting in the way of processing that this is a temporary thing, and we need to be, maintain our reserves for it, and we need to have everyone wait and calm and stay busy and distracted and take turns, so that the one who's in the hospital is not stressed out, and the one who's staying back is also recovering their resources, energy, mental resources, physical resources, so they are ready to take their turn.
And this is why I kept on telling everyone as well that, hey, you know what, inshallah, everything's going to get better, so let's not get derailed, and let's just put more focus on that the baby gets well, which is wonderful.
Right.
And all of a sudden, because we have a sign language, she just needs to ask the question. That's the kind of chemistry we're talking about. Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you for letting me. So I was going to say, What was I going to say? I really forgot. But here's the thing. So, you know, even if we're talking about either of the sides, if we're talking about parents or we're talking about kids for some reason. So in this particular case, just this morning, I always talk about her, there's this beggar on my way to work here. We're almost friends now. We meet every morning.
That
so
lady?
That lady, yeah.
Yeah.
So just this morning, she was in a really, sad phase, and I was at an ishara, so I had to be fast. So I was quickly like, what happened? And she was hysterical because she lost her father just recently. And she must be in her 50s, you know. So I realized that it is always a hard time. Losing parent permanently, well, of course, but even sort of departing from them or distancing from them is always a hard time, regardless of what age you belong to. So now I want you to sort of talk about, from this perspective, how can you anchor or ground your life without parents?
Oh,
Well, you
I'm
just
still
feel
struggling.
insecure, that's
Of
it.
course.
I'm still struggling to find that in my life. But anyway, you know, the parent-child relationship is one of the first relationships. And it is so vital to a person's sense of being and sense of self-worth. If it goes
Yes,
well,
true.
then you
Your
get
personality is amazing.
personality. And if the emotional bonding doesn't take place, if you know, there's a lot of negativity, verbal abuse, physical abuse, traumatic experiences, then it can mean even worse. For instance, that person will always be moving on with a lot of pain in his life. Now, I think the best way of dealing with your parental loss, this happens. Well, I know it's very hard to say, but it happens. But I think when you think of what they were, what the goodness they had, and what the strengths they gave you, and that is what one learns. And when I say parents need to be, you know, like rational adults when dealing with children, it's because that's when you are giving your children the skills to lead life. If you can control your anger, if you can control your impulses and be a good role model, I'll explain that also.
Okay.
But then actually you are doing the best for your child. You have taught your child how to handle himself. This resourcefulness is something which you will not maybe pick up in schools. Eventually you will, in workplace you will, your friends will make sure you do that.
Through life lessons.
Through life lessons. But when the first day, you know, when your parents tell you, okay, it's okay, we'll deal with it, and that's the thing which goes. So when you go through bereavement and the loss, you know you will deal with it. So you are in this moment right now, it's very difficult to handle. So, and I always say, when it's an emotional moment, give into emotions. That's also very important. We must acknowledge feelings for what they are.
Exactly, and thank you very much for saying that, because just very recently I'm feeling otherwise, because, you know, earlier, you know, in the first segment with Nandan, we were having this conversation how millennials are actually making everything go viral and that you really need to relate with them, and that's what happens. But these days I think there's one thing which is wrong with millennials, and this is something which we have never done while we were growing up. We were never big mouths, you know, because these days parents, you know, obviously why would anybody hate their own child? You know, we don't do that. Our parents used to do that quite a lot. I used to get beaten every single day, which is why I think, alhamdulillah, my life is on track. Otherwise, I might have gone somewhere else. But what should we do? You know, so imagine that you actually have an 8-year-old daughter, alhamdulillah, you say anything, and they are so big, I mean, they're big mouths that they say whatever they want to say. I'm busy, I'm playing games, I cannot do that, Beta, can you get me a glass of water? Why don't you do anything yourself as well? You keep on lying on the bed every day, you know, whenever I come, you know, so I just don't say anything then. I'm like, okay, you know, if I have to get it, I'll get it. But if I go back in my own life, and that if I ever had the courage to say that to my father, I think it would have been a slap right on my cheek. Do you think that we really need to apply the same science over here, or do you think that just ignoring it or letting it go? Because this is something I realized that once kids, they grow up, they realize, yeah, that, you know, okay, we have to respect our parents and whatnot. So how do we face these challenges where kids are growing up and they want to say anything and everything and they'll say it to your face?
I think the big problem with Pakistani parenting is
Cultural, yes.
cultural.
Yeah.
We want to just give them everything. They're so cute. They are so lovely. They are. We just want to, you know.
And if you're not going to give it, the mother's going to give it. Now, then it's better you give it, because they're going to love the mother more than, you know, you want to be loved more as a parent.
So you see, again, I would say typical cultural issues that, you know, you're competing for attention.
Yeah.
But then that's not going to work in the long run, actually.
Okay.
And so again, what you need to understand is that from a very early age, you need to tell them expectations of behavior. And that's what my favorite word comes in, boundaries. Children need to know what is expected of them, what they're expected to do, what you will do. Like you can't, you are not equal to the child. So if you are lying on your bed, they are not the one who's going to question it, you see.
Yeah.
But you can.
Exactly.
But then there are expected behaviors which must be followed. And apart from being a role model, what that parents are, but generally children have to be, they don't know, they didn't come in this world knowing what to do. So what you teach them, you know, what you are talking about is permissive parenting, giving into their demands. And in that thing, what happens is children actually get anchorless. They don't know where to stop and how to, so they are always in the moment and wanting instant gratification. I feel hungry, I'll have it. I don't feel hungry, I won't have it. I want to play, I just want to keep playing. So that's why we need to develop timings, routines. I'm always very I emphasize routines. Must have routines. Your routines actually, Shahzad, sustain you in life.
True. Discipline, obviously.
Discipline.
And this is something which everybody kind of needs to do, because ladies and gentlemen, life without discipline is not really a life as well. You know, you will always be staying in your comfort zone. Discipline will take you out of your comfort zone as well. Now, there are two things which I want to ask. The later one is very interesting. The first one is, now imagine that, you know, since we are talking about discipline as well, so I mean, I think it's either of the parent, either it's the mother or the father as well. So they big mouths with me, but with their mother, you know, she only tells them, I'm going to count till 5, and at 3, you know, she's right in front of them. You know, so that's different, number one. So comment on that. And number two is, so Elon Musk just very recently actually released a statement where it was his picture with his kids, and he said that, hey, you know what, I do not expect anything from my kids. Because I brought them into this world, they have the right to expect everything from me. Now that's a cultural shift. How do we deal with that?
Oh, that says a lot of things, and that's what I also emphasize. We think that because the children are here, you know, we don't need to make any changes in our life. But the fact is, to be a parent, you have to be ready for this role, mentally, physically, financially, right? Now, if you're not there, if you're not able to handle the demands of a child, then obviously something's going to go wrong, right? Now, the children need your time, they need care, 24 hours care, they need love. What they will get, they will eventually
reciprocate,
give back. Yes, that's how they will turn out to be. So, secondly, for parenting, you need to be one step ahead of them. Okay, like okay, now you're getting married, so get ready, maybe parenthood is on the way. So you need to start saving, you need to take care of your health, you need to have a good diet, you need to have a safe, secure home and a safe environment. Your relationship with your spouse must be very stable, right? Then moving on, when the child comes, then you have the things, and then you have the money. It's not like that. I've literally come across children, it's university time, and the father says, I don't have the money. And there's total chaos.
Right. But Doctor, of course, I mean, there are people definitely who must be having a little harder time as compared to others, economically, I'm saying.
Well,
financially,
what we're trying to say
situations are different. I totally get that. But yes, in terms of planning, Dr. Isa, you're absolutely right where you say that you have to be mentally and then emotionally, so, you know, all those things, you have to be available and present in the moment. But then we are looking at a generation, if we're talking about this particular age, then we're looking at a generation of parents who were brought up through the methods that we now condemn.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
so we're looking at a group of people who are mentally, well, I don't want to say they're very well balanced or equipped, to be honest, but they're trying the hardest to bring the best foot forward. So there's a conflict with them. So with a person with such a conflict already, how are they going to bestow better things on the next generation?
Well, when you say they're trying to do their best, are they compensating it with material items?
I think yes, mostly.
And then look what they're giving to the child, that you can have whatever you want to eat, you can have a room full of all your favorite items, but then I'm not available, and just call it. So being emotionally there is what actually counts. Being able to be there for your child when the child needs you is actually giving a life skill which will not only come back to you, but it will transfer to the other relationships he or she will form. You see, he'll be a good sibling, or he'll be a good husband, or she'll be a good wife. So the empathy that we need to develop actually comes from the parents.
That is true.
And you know, one last question before we wrap up, which I believe is the most important one as well. You know, the world's been in a Great Depression. A lot of kids are actually going through that, and it's very challenging for a lot of parents. That it eventually comes down to a time where their kids actually text them or say to them that, hey, you know what, if you're not going to fulfill this demand, I'm going to, God forbid, kill myself. Now, that is a point where a parent thinks that, okay, whatever I have, I actually have to give it to them, because God forbid if something this unfortunate happens, the parent cannot forgive themselves, you know, and this is something which a lot of kids are taking advantage of as well. Do you have any quick solution to that, okay, what parents really need to do if their kids are blackmailing them, and that too with their life?
Go to a psychologist.
Yeah, and it's important.
Take professional help,
Yeah.
because children are reaching out, and the gap between the parent and child has, especially due to the pandemic, that has increased hugely. So you do need to come out of your own way of thinking and enter the child's realm.
Yeah.
Until parents can't do that, they will continue to be exploited and emotionally, because the children know your buttons, they can really pull them.
I know, right?
Exactly. So thank you very much, Dr. Aiza Jizdani Abid, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation. You definitely did share some good, amazing tips with all the parents who are out there, might be having a little bit of trouble, you know, managing. By the end of the day, they are your kids. Yeah, you can definitely do or kind of give them that care or love. It truly depends on you, what you're doing.
Definitely.
And the kids are always going to be what you are today as well. So please make sure that you're a better version of yourself every single day.
Right, and I think for towards the end of the show, the only thing I'm going to take forward from what Dr. Aiza said is how it's important to be emotionally available to your children more than being able to provide them materially. Don't even sort of design them that way that they want to look for those things. So it's okay if you cannot afford one thing that they're asking for today. Maybe for today, what you can do is ask them, hey, do you have 2 hours to play with me? Set up an activity just at the expense of your own TV lounge or their own room. You can have so much fun with them. They will remember their entire lives. I'm so sorry, we're short on time, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, Farooq and Haja will definitely be bringing the latest headlines to you as well. We'll see you next morning, same time. And the repeat of this, you can catch it at 5 past midnight.
Till the next time, look after yourselves. 1, 2, 3. Good morning. Have a great day. Thank you.
Secure.